This here's the Ballad of Craig Poore. Let me tell you a story about a man named Craig. Got a big old heart, he's a real good egg, but now he's getting ready to head to glory. He's one of the best darn guys that I've ever known, got kindness oozing right out of his bones, but let me tell you, that's only half the story. See, I knew Craig back in '95. We were two young studs just ready to jive with dreams of bright lights on that improv stage. Now, what they taught us at SAK Comedy School was improvisation's golden rule, that the answer's always yes and that's just the way. But let me tell you something about Craig in the '90s. I'd say it to his face. I know he wouldn't mind. He's the type of guy who knows where he used to stand. See, if there were criminals of improvisation, he'd be the most wanted man in our blessed nation, because Craig was the biggest blocker in all the land. Yeah, you'd say up, but he'd say down. Someone say square, he'd say round, and he'd do it all with a big old goofy smile. There wasn't an offer he couldn't smash. There wasn't a scene that he wouldn't crash, and the agenda he drove was longer than a country mile. Now, I ain't never seen no one with a spine that stiff, and he stayed that way up until his epiphany, when he had his revelation and came into the light. He found his yes, and he found his and he'd shout the news all across the land, and he embraced that golden rule with all his might. Now Craig took his love as big as a mountain, and he brought it to a woman that he could surely count on, and she said yes, and that's how the story goes. Of course, the second part of yes is always and, so after they married came something so grand, a blessed young boy from his head down to his toes. Now, some folks got gold that's stored up in banks, but Craig just laughs and says, "No thanks, I've got the greatest treasure that I call my own." And when I look at him, I have to agree, it's the easiest thing in the world to see that Craig's the richest poor man I've ever known. Love you, Craig. Love to you too, Lauren and Thomas.